good affair like our relegation playoff final. Sorry, semi-final. And if Portugal win, they go into the group. If Denmark win, they go into our group as well. So the winners.
So just to clarify, Noel, if the winner wins that playoff, will be in this group.
Yeah, that's right. And they've been the Nations League semi-finals then, because this is the Nations League quarterfinal. So the teams that were in the Nations League quarterfinals, all the teams, they were all going to be in a 4-team group. There's actually teams with 5 in it, but because Portugal or Denmark or Ireland ourselves are actually in the Nations League, they're in the quarterfinal League A. We're in a relegation playoff. We're always going to be in a pot. We're always going to be in a 4-team group. Sorry. So there was always going to be teams we were always going to avoid, for example. So I think England.
Well, no, I don't mean to cut across you, but I just wanted to clarify that it's the winner of Portugal and Denmark in the playoff will be in this group. So just look at the group in. The winner of that Portugal, Denmark, Hungary, Ireland, and Armenia. Just what you're talking about. I know it's a long time away. It's 19 months.
And I think that's the really annoying thing for fans. Like you said, we can't make travel arrangements or anything like that. And I don't know if the official list has come out. I suppose they'll all be on a provisional basis because we don't know whether we're going for Portugal or Denmark for sure. But having said that, I probably, if you ask me who to predict, I think Portugal might just edge it, Paul.
Yeah.
If you ask me to be, so but let's just say Portugal being favourites, they probably would win the game. It's at the bus draw, Paul. Because we could have got more sports. Hungary. I saw when I was watching the draw. Hungary, they've said haven't qualified for World Cup in something like 40 years. I don't know if that's right or wrong. They're a good side, Paul. Though we actually beat them in a friendly, and the players, there was a bit of nastiness at the end of the game, and I think I'm not putting our home players down here, but I think we brought the game down to our level where it was a bit scrappy. Who wants it more? And I know it's only a friendly, but we got the win in the end. Obviously, Hungary might have been tunnel vision focused on the Euros, but they didn't do very well in the Euros here. To be fair, I think they won a game against Scotland in the last group game, but they lost the previous 2, so they didn't get out of the group even. So they've made actually some great steady progress over the last couple of years, but they've been disappointed with their Euros. Armenia are a team that we've also played in the Nations League before. Under Stephen Kenny, we actually lost 1-0 in Armenia, but this time of year is actually going to be helping us, Paul, because I think we went there in the middle of June, right at the start of June, where it was boiling hot, and players. I know there was a training period where they were out for, and I forget where they were having training camp in Portugal. Clearly didn't work out, sadly, because Armenia beat us 1-0, and the team didn't look. There was after a long hard season, the team looked flagging a little bit, so we lost 1-0, but we beat them 3-2 in Dublin. So we have if it is Portugal, Hungary, and Armenia, we've all played them recently enough, and our record against them hadn't been too bad. We only lost. We were 1-0 up in Portugal there under Stephen Kenny in the 90th minute, and lo and behold, that man again, Ronaldo, he got 2 huge goals. I think he actually broke the international goal scoring record that night, and he got 2 goals in the last few minutes. He actually had a penalty saved. Ireland were playing really well. Ireland could and should have had the penalty themselves, make it 2-0. But fortunately, we didn't get it, and they just hit us with a sucker punch ball, and we never recovered after it.
Yeah. No. Just to clarify, that group, whoever it is, the winner of the group will automatically qualify for the World Cup, and if you finish second, you win to playoffs. So you have to finish second. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. You're definitely. Third place is no good, Paul. Third place is nothing. Now, under the Euros, for example, if you finish third and you did well in the Nations League previously, you might sneak into a playoff for the Euros. Like the first 2 used to always go through in the Euros group. But the World Cup is different, like I said, Paul. First place team guaranteed World Cup. Second place team, you go into a playoff. So
if I look at that, sorry for cutting across you. If I'm looking at it is Portugal, we just said it's Portugal. They'll be hot favourites to win the group. So then it looks to me it's basically a 3-team group: Hungary, Ireland, Armenia to one spot make the playoffs. And I know it's a long way away, 19 months away, and things could change, and of course they could. But to me, as an outsider, I'm just looking at it now. That's the way it looks to me. It's almost you have 3 teams competing for one spot in the playoffs. If we can get a result against Portugal or Denmark, better again. But that's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Paul, if we take it as a guarantee Portugal in the group, there'd be massive favourites, you said. Ireland, for us to get second, I believe we would have to beat Armenia home and away. And Armenia are ranked lower than us. I mean, they're not
no
putting up any
mugs, no,
trees.
they're
Probably no bugs. They're probably no bugs. But to have any chance of getting to the playoffs, we have to beat them home and away, because I think the remit I would find is beat Armenia home and away, try desperately to get a draw out in Hungary. It depends on where the games are. I don't know the fixtures now, but I would say the main aim would be get a draw out in Hungary, and then bring it down to whatever game. Hopefully the Hungary game at home is one of the last games where we know if we win, we're in second. So I think that'd be the ideal scenario for us. I think that would be something that we're going to have to aim for. I think we have to beat Armenia home and away. I think that's non-negotiable. I think they will probably see that as well themselves, where they're going to have to beat. If Armenia's side, they would have to think they'll have to beat us home and away as well. And Hungary would expect being the pot two, and to be fair, they are a little bit better than us, Paul. I mean, nearly would say they're as good as Greece, if not better. We played teams at the standards of Greece. They've beaten us 2-0 at home and 2-0 away. So they're at that little bit level more higher than us. And this being a competitive game, points on the board. I know I mentioned that friendly earlier on. Yes, it's good to win, and it's good to play them, and we know our players, but it's totally different when you're in a competitive game. So look, it's doable, Paul. Like it is doable. Hopefully if we can get free of injuries. Evan Ferguson is a big one, Paul. We need him playing football. For his own career, he needs to get out of Brighton. He's just not getting a look in there lately. Danny Welbeck was injured. I think one or two other players were injured, and he's still on the bench there at the weekend. So we do need him starting and getting games. Get on loan for the rest of the season if you can at all, because I don't think the manager at Brighton fancies him. His injury record isn't great either. So get fit, get out on a loan, get a few games under your belt for the season, and hopefully he'll be in good form by the time March comes around. And of course, he'll be either has a new club or is getting into the team at Brighton when September comes around. So that's the aim for him, I suppose.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Sammy Smaddox, they're having a tough time there this return, but the one there at the weekend, I think he was ill there at the weekend. Hopefully he can get a bit of form. He scored a great goal against Spurs, but he's only living off scraps. I suppose a lot of these switch forwards are living off scraps at the moment. They're down there at the bottom. They're I think they're 17th or 18th at the moment. They're hopefully he can get his goal scoring form back up again. And also midfielders, I like the look of Will Smallbone. I think he's we're coming from a very poor batch, but he's I don't know if he's injured for the season, but he hasn't been playing for Southampton. I don't know how long his injury is out for.
The under 21s didn't qualify for the Euros this summer, which is very disappointing. I thought that would have been a great boost, but we're hoping maybe so this tournament will be starting to qualify next September. We're hoping a few of them will come through, develop with their clubs, maybe even get a transfer to a higher club.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping that will say so. It's a real disappointment that they didn't make the Euros, because they're saying the Euros, it would bring them on farther. But look, that's it. There's nothing you can do about that now. But so you're hoping that a few of them would come through with their clubs and become regulars.
Yeah, you would hope that the heartbreak they had of not qualifying for the Euros for the 21s, there'll be a learning curve, a good learning curve, where when you're on top, see a game out, particularly if the defenders are from midfielders, just pick a few passes. I think the big hope we have in midfield, if you could stay fit, and he's a young lad, and I don't like putting too much pressure on a young player, but Andrew Moore there, I think he's on loan from Brighton to Stoke. I think he's a good player. I don't know. Hopefully by the time March comes out, September comes out, he'll be injury free. He's a good young player. Pick a pass. There's a few other young players there too, and I've good hope too for another player, Jack Taylor. He got the winning goal for Ipswich Town there at the weekend, Paul, against Wolves. Great header. He has a few injuries now and again, but I do like the look of him, Paul. He played against Greece there, Jack Taylor. Good header. Played well for the second half of that game. And I think he's a good option as well in midfield. So, because we need options in midfield, Paul. We're crying out for a bit of creativity, a bit of enthusiasm, you could say even. Tony used to say back in the day. But look, I think it's going to be tough, but I do think it is doable. We could have got worse groups, Paul. For example, in the last Euros group, we had bloody Holland and France in the group. and there was like calling a spade. Let's call a spade here. There's probably no hope at all we're going to get that we're going to get into that top two. So I think it's more achievable now either with Portugal or Denmark. Probably Portugal, we think, and then Hungary. I think it's more doable than last time, Paul. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing before we finish up, I think March is crucial because that's a competitive 2 games against Bulgaria, a team roughly at our level. If we can come through that, that will boost confidence. Now, obviously, if we don't come through it, it'll affect it the other way. But if we come through that, it'll boost a bit of confidence. Obviously, then before we'll probably have maybe a friendly there in June. Maybe they might even have a camp. Because in fairness to the manager, he had no chance to get the players together. So when the season finishes, he'll probably have a camp, a proper to get together rightly, and hopefully the younger players come through. But Ireland will have to step up to get ahead of Hungary. They'll have to step up. That's the big threat. But look, they have to do it at one stage. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to do that. It won't be just at the same level. As you said, Hungary are probably slightly ahead. So for us to get ahead of Hungary, we are going to have to step up. And hopefully if they can get past Bulgaria in March, and then the manager will get his players together in June when the season finishes, and next September, whoever's around, they'll step up to the mark just to find more before we finish up.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, I do like, I think Heimer has improved us a little. Now, we're coming from a very low baseball. But he's already got 2 wins in the Nations League where we hadn't. I think the most wins we had. I think Stevie Kinney had 2 wins as well. Scotland and Armenia down the last camp. But he was the first man to get an away win. You know, if you think of Martin O'Neill, Stevie Kinney, I think had 2 Nations League camps, no away win. So look, he's already had got money in the bank, you could say, from the Nations League compared to the other managers. I do think he is able to make the tough decisions. I do think that if you take I know the first half of England, I know just every game is 90 minutes, but I think before Liam Scales got sent off, I thought we were comfortable enough defending against England. Now, I think a learning curve. I think it was something he won't like is how we fell apart when Liam Scales got sent off, and where the team just fell apart. We conceded 5 goals, 3 goals within I think it was 10 or 12 minutes, which was crazy. So I think if we can iron out all that, if we can just get belief into the squad, iron out these stupid, silly mistakes like before and after half time, like you say, the championship penalties, you call them, Paul. Try and get that try and iron them out. Get the team prepared properly. Win that playoff against Bulgaria. Keep our League B status. Use the camp, as you said, in June for another friendly or 2 to have a training camp. And then, obviously, with the World Cup qualifiers, he won't have any other time with him before in June. So March to June is massive. That's where the preparation comes in for the World Cup qualifiers. We'll know then by end of March who we're playing, Portugal or Denmark. Probably Portugal. Obviously, he'll have the scouts. He'll probably have someone watching that game from the FAI and his coaching staff watching them 2-legged playoffs between Portugal and Denmark, trying to find out any weaknesses or things that we need to be wary of that we can exploit. Because obviously, other teams are going to be watching our games as well. So look, I think it's better than we're in a better place than we were this time last year. We're at a very, very low place this time last year, Paul. The lowest you could get. We're making little improvements, getting at least home and away wins against Finland, keeping our League B status for the time being, hopefully getting a playoff win in March and take it from there, improving the squad bit by bit by bit. So we're able to peak or be in good form, or at least give ourselves a competitive chance in the World Cup qualifiers, because it's far too early.